Hi, I'm George Reynolds, quarterback at the NFL Academy, and you're listening to the Cleats Off podcast with Liz Bhandari.
Hello everyone and welcome to the Cleats Off podcast. I'm your host Liz Bhandari and this is a show that brings you closer to the game you love. Today's guest is George Reynolds, quarterback with the NFL Academy. George talks to us about being selected for the Quincy Avery QB start event, where his passion for American football started, the biggest lessons learned whilst with the NFL Academy, words of inspiration for the next generation, plus where he sees himself next. Enjoy the show! Welcome to the show, George. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. How are you? Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, absolute pleasure. Thank you so much for taking the time out. And congratulations on being selected for the Quincy Avery QB start event. That was really exciting.
Yeah, it's going to be a great opportunity for me, being able to be put into a caliber with such quarterbacks in America, to know I'll be able to compete with them and just show my skills.
I'm really excited for you, so good luck. Now, I'd love to know more about where your passion for playing American football came from.
So my dad works in the NFL. I'm sure a lot of people know that. So growing up, I always knew that I loved the sport. I was always a fan. I went to the London games and I watched every weekend on the TV. So when I got a bit older, maybe 13 or 14, I understood that and I realized I wanted to play the sport. So I spoke to my dad and he told me about a team he played for when he was younger, the Kent Exiles, and he took me down for a practice there at the flag team, which was my first practice, and I started out playing receiver. And yeah, it was just from there on, I just learned to love the sport and more than any other sport I'd ever played, and it just became the real passion in my life and just what I wanted to do with my future.
And has that made you choose like an NFL team that you are a fan of, or are you quite happy to just love the game itself?
No, definitely I'm a Colts fan. It came from a few times I'd trained and I'd met Andrew Luck, and he became a big star for me and really a role model to me. So when I met him, he was really passionate about the sport. So I understood where I needed to improve in my personality to get there, like how much passion you really have to have. And I know from that I've really developed. And watching him on the field when he played, he was one of the best quarterbacks I've seen. So I really loved to take that from him. And I just realized I was a Colts fan.
Yeah, I can totally understand that. Colts are a team with an incredible history, and you can't beat the loyalty that Andrew Luck gave to them. Would you say that he's the player you look up to and aspire to be like?
Yeah, definitely. When he was in the league, it was every weekend I'd watch him on Sky Sports or on my phone, and I'd just analyse how he plays football, and it really hit me of he's that sort of pocket passer who can run when he has to. And that's how I tried to model my game. So when I went out training, I'd look at his technique and then try to take it into what I did. So yeah, he's one of the biggest role models for me, and he's what I want to aspire to be like.
That's amazing. Now, let's talk about the NFL Academy. You've just finished your first year. How's it been going? What kind of things have you been up to?
So at the Academy, we spend a lot of time focusing on how to make ourselves better players, in the sense of how we would want to go to college as football players. So coming from a European background of football, we generally play 9-man football, 5-a-side football, 7-a-side football. Some of us haven't even played football before. So it's really about teaching the basics of how you can step into an 11-a-side game and be able to be smart and play with physicality. And it really just wants us to get ready for that next level, which can be different for everyone, whether that's college in America or going to a uni here and carrying on playing football here. So it's really about developing us as players and as people.
It sounds like such an invaluable experience. What did it mean to you to win a place at the NFL Academy?
It was really amazing to me because I knew it from a while back. I really wanted to play sport at a higher level, go to college and play football. So when this opportunity came about, I just picked it up straight away. having been selected as one of the first 4 quarterbacks at the NFL Academy, it really
Wow.
inspired me to get better. And as soon as I got to the NFL Academy, I knew I'd have to compete every day to be the starting quarterback and get to America.
And how do you find the balance of education versus playing? I'd love to hear what a typical day looks like for you.
So we train 3 times a week. On the other days, we do mainly schoolwork. So on a training day, it will be up till 12 o'clock roughly, where we have school lessons. So that can be A-level classes, which is what I take, and college classes for other people, like 1-year courses or something like that. So then we do that up till 12 o'clock, and then we have classroom sessions with our positional coaches. So I'll go with the other quarterbacks, and we typically break down film, look at what we do ourselves, because we use like Huddle to look at our own film. So we do something like that. And then we bus over to training. We spend typically like 2.5, 3 hours there, where we run through a typical training session, which is individual groups. So QBs doing footwork drills, for example, and then going with the receivers and then going against the defense, which for me was really interesting because I'd never really experienced such a set practice where you had certain times with receivers, certain times with DBs. And it really helps you improve because every day, you know, you're on a set time, you got to go fast and you just got to get through everything. Like you go through team periods, you go through 7-on-7 periods, and it just really gets you going, and you can improve because you're getting much more reps than if you just went for a practice just throwing the ball to receivers, which I had some experience with when I was playing at like the Kent Exiles, when I'd just play with my receivers, like not at certain practices, but if I went out with receivers, I didn't really know the drills I needed to do.
Yeah.
So it's a good experience to be at the academy. It really teaches you how to play football.
That's really cool. Now, what do you think have been some of the biggest lessons you've learnt whilst being at the academy?
It's really take nothing for granted. There's no easy path to America. So if I want to get there, it has to come from me. The coaches can help me out. They can help me improve, but it really has to come from me. I have to have the desire to train every day because traveling up to London, for me, it's a 2-hour journey. I have to make sure I'm there ready. I'm not tired. I've eaten enough food. And I have to go into every practice 3 times a week, which is a lot of work. You get tired from it, but you have to go in knowing that you want to improve and ultimately just aim for that end goal, which for me is America and hopefully the NFL. So really it's got to come from within you, work hard, speak to coaches, and then you can reach it.
Wow, that's some incredible advice right there. We'll be right back in a moment, but first we've got a quick message from our friends over at the National Vintage League.
Hi, this is Hugh, and you're listening to the National Vintage League ASMR. If you're looking for authentic vintage NFL jerseys and apparel from the 1970s till now, there's only one place to go. Come check us out at nationalvintageleague.com or check out our Instagram. Save the planet, look good doing it.
Oh, Hugh, what a guy. If, like me, you're a big fan of vintage NFL merchandise, be sure to check them out. And if you need something to help sweeten a deal, use the code NFLGirlUK to enjoy 10% off. Now, George, this year, 8 individuals from the NFL Academy, yourself included, were selected to be part of the skills showdown that took place before the Pro Bowl game in Orlando. How was that experience for you?
That was another great experience because as part of the NFL Academy, we often feel like we're outsiders in effect because we are from Europe, and that's really somewhere where we can't showcase our skills as well as people in America. So when this opportunity came about, I knew for me personally that I wanted to go out there and beat all the Americans because that is what I want to show, that the players from Europe and the guys that I work with and I play with, we can be better than them. And so when I went out there and I did the accuracy challenge, I made sure that I was on top of my game and it wasn't just a bit of fun. So really it was a chance for us to prove ourselves and really get the name of the NFL Academy out there.
Yeah, absolutely. You think of your competition, you know, they've been brought up playing and watching American football, whereas here, you know, it's mostly football or even, you know, rugby. And you mentioned it yourself, how people have joined the academy having never played the game before. So I think it's incredible that, you know, we've been lucky enough to have this academy created. And yeah, to be then showcase in America. That's absolutely incredible.
Yeah, definitely, because we have coming into this year, we had 30 or so players that have never played American football before, which really set us in a stance where we had to move fast paced this year because these guys had to, within weeks, realize how to play the sport, what they had to do, and really learn it to be at the top of their game because otherwise they get left behind. And I think that's why the academy is so good for us with coaches. So before, I was coached by a great quarterbacks coach called Zach Ritchie at the Kent Exiles, and he really helped me learn how to play quarterback mechanically. So I knew how to throw the ball with the best power and stuff. But I never knew how to play like an 11-side game of football as if I went to college in America because I haven't experienced that.
Yeah.
So going to the academy with Coach Jerome Allen, he's my quarterbacks coach. He really taught me what it's like to be a quarterback and how to play it smart instead of just being an accurate quarterback.
Yeah. Now, I've never played American football, so I don't know kind of what's going through a quarterback's mind when in that moment on the field. So I'd love for you to tell me a bit more around that. When you're on the field, how do you keep your composure and get yourself together to make the right move?
I think as much as the game is fast speed, you really have to take it slow. So you have more time than you think when you step on the field. So what I like to do is I like to get to the line of scrimmage and see all my receivers and then let the defense get set up. And then I just take a second to just analyze it all, realize what I've got to do, what my teammates have got to do. And that really helps me get composed because I know that if I go into a play and I understand what I'm doing and what my receivers are doing, I can go and complete that play. If I go in blind, I don't know what anyone's doing, I haven't called any mic checks or O-line shifts or something, it doesn't feel like you've got more pressure on you. So you go out there and everything moves faster. Whereas if you know what you're doing, things move slow and you can just react.
Yeah, keep it controlled.
Definitely.
Now, you're part of the first class at the academy, and so you play a part in inspiring the next generation of players. What advice would you give to them?
I think there's a few pieces of advice that really worked for me. And the first piece is that if you want to get to your goal, you can do it through hard work, which has to come from within. So if you want to make it, so for younger players, if you want to get into the NFL Academy, start working towards that goal. Get better in your skill position, get better physically, whether that's faster, stronger. And it's really just about improving every day. Our coach has a motto at the academy, which is 1% better each day. And that's what I really like to focus on. I always go into a day realizing, what am I going to improve today? Whether that's strength in home workouts or going down to the park with my dad and throwing certain routes that I know I'm not working so well with at the academy. It just really, you have to focus on that. And then I think another piece of advice is really love the game. I think if you love the game enough, you will go far because you just want to do everything to stay in the sport. Like, I can't imagine a life without American football in it. So I have to stay in this for as long as I can.
Yeah, definitely. As we know, we're all in lockdown at the moment, and so currently there are no face-to-face training and the likes. What kind of things are you doing to keep your mind sharp and on top of your physical fitness too?
Yeah, so with college, first of all, we've been doing online lessons. So I'm making sure I'm keeping on top of my education, doing online tests, stuff like that. So that's still being kept on top of. But for me, I really realized that I can't get to the gym and I can't get on the field with my teammates quite yet. But that can't stop me doing something to improve every day. So with me and my dad, we go down to practice 3 or 4 times a week at the local park, and I just work through for about an hour, different routes, footworks with a speed ladder. And it's really just anything you can do because we're making the best of a bad situation.
Yeah.
And I think you can really find opportunities out of this, even if it is a bad situation, because you can do home workouts. There is stuff you can do without weights, such as push-ups, squats, core work, and it's all going to help because you can improve flexibility. There's always something you can do. So I've been trying to do exercise 5 or 6 days a week just to make sure I'm keeping on top of that and eating right as well. For me, going into the academy, I wasn't weighing what I wanted to weigh. I was too small for the position I wanted to play. And going into the academy with such busy schedules, I realised I wasn't eating right. There was days where I'd just be grabbing a snack or a drink when I should really have been eating a full meal with protein and stuff. So I've taken this time out to really focus on eating 4 or 5 meals a day, protein at every meal. And just trying to get my weight gains up so that when I get back to the academy, I can keep this going and keep putting on weight and getting to where I want to be, really.
I think it's great to have that determination. A lot of people in lockdown, me included, have used this as a bit of an excuse to do whatever you want. But no, you've really got yourself into a regime and you're making the most of it. Now, my final question, George. What's next for you? Where would you like to see yourself?
So I'm back at the academy this year. I've got another year at quarterback. And then hopefully it's the college in America. I want to reach a D1 school. And that's what I'm spending a lot of my time doing right now, is creating opportunities for myself, whether that's talking to college recruiters in America, coaches in America, and stuff like this QB Stars Challenge.
Yeah.
It's really anything that I can use to send my film over to America and just get exposure for myself, because I know personally I'm good enough to play in America. And I just need someone out there to notice that, and I'm ready to show my skills. If I have to go out there and prove it to coaches, I'll do that. It's just whatever I can do to get where I want to be.
Absolutely. Well, listen, I'm really, really excited for you. And thank you so much for speaking to me. And best of luck. And I'm genuinely excited and got my fingers crossed.
Yeah, thank you for having me on.
No problem. I loved chatting to George and learning all about life at the academy. I'm excited for his future, and I hope he achieves his dreams of being the first British quarterback in the NFL. I know for sure when his playing days are over, he'll be stealing his dad's job from Sky Sports. Well, that's it for another episode of the Cleats Off podcast. As always, I'd love your comments and feedback, so feel free to reach out to me at NFL Girl UK across Twitter, Facebook or Instagram. And finally, don't forget to subscribe to the podcast. I wouldn't want you to miss a single episode. Until next time, thanks for listening.